Welcome to the Gospel Walk podcast, where we take the teachings from Christ Academy and explore what they actually mean for our daily lives. From childhood, we are wired with a hero narrative. We are taught to be the ones who work hard, overcome the odds, and somehow save the day. Deep down, the human heart functions like a factory. It constantly churns out things to brag about, a job title, a large paycheck, or an achievement, just to prove we have intrinsic value. This relentless hero narrative is the engine driving modern anxiety. We feel exhausted because we are constantly trying to maintain the worth we've built for ourselves. The problem is that earthly foundations are extremely fragile. A career can end with one bad financial quarter, and a reputation built over decades can vanish because of a single misunderstood comment. Our world offers several counterfeit gospels to replace the void. We chase pure self-fulfillment, look to politics for salvation, or treat wealth and prosperity as a sign of divine favor. These specific gospels promise stability, but they collapse under the weight of human sin and the inevitable storms of life. According to the Christ Academy article, building an identity on these shifting metrics leaves the soul dry. Even religious performance feels empty when it's just about checking boxes. Humanity is trapped on shaking ground. To survive, we need a foundation that is infinitely permanent. Consider the Apostle Paul. He was a brilliant, self-justified scholar who possessed every worldly reason to flaunt his intellectual superiority. Yet Paul made a radical pivot. When he arrived in Corinth, he deliberately abandoned clever rhetoric and sophisticated arguments to focus solely on Christ crucified. Paul redefines the biblical concept of boasting. It moves away from arrogance and becomes about your foundation, the ground you stand on when you feel insecure. Paul chose to base his entire existence on an emblem of ancient execution and extreme shame, rather than his own impressive resume. He realized that true spiritual freedom requires moving the center of gravity entirely away from our own performance and onto the finished work of Christ. Our core mechanical problem is a moral debt. Every time we fail, we add to a deficit of righteousness we are unable to pay off on our own. God must execute perfect justice while simultaneously extending infinite mercy. He dealt with sin by pouring out justice, but showed mercy by taking the penalty himself, permanently marking our unpayable moral debt as paid in full. This rescue reveals two humbling truths. We are vastly more broken than we dare admit, yet infinitely more loved than we ever hoped. The cross functions as the literal, historical mechanism that shattered the power of sin. Being crucified to the world means that the cross permanently snaps the invisible, magnetic pull of societal expectations. You no longer need to perform for the crowd or chase the illusion of worldly respectability. When your belonging is firmly rooted in Christ, earthly honors and criticisms lose their voice. This theological shift changes a normal Tuesday morning routine. You can start the day in prayer by resting in Christ's completed work, rather than stressing over the pressure of a personal to-do list. Because your reputation is safe in Christ, you can handle daily criticism with humility. Your ego no longer requires an armor shield to protect its worth. Service to others transforms. It is no longer an exhausting transaction used to get noticed. It becomes a joyful overflow of received grace. What fragile earthly pride are you tempted to boast in today? In a culture of shifting ideologies, trading that pride for the cross is the only way to find an unshakable anchor.